What happens when years of tension between sister wives finally come to light? Meri Brown recently sat down with Amy Robach and TJ Holmes on their podcast. In the second part, released yesterday, the conversation turned toward her relationships with the other sister wives, especially Christine. With Christine's book now out, fans wanted to know, where does Meri stand? Who does she talk to, and who does she avoid? This was Meri's chance to finally clear the air and respond directly to Christine's claims in her book. But instead of throwing shade, Meri chose silence, a surprisingly mature move. And while we've already seen so much of their feud unfold on TV, it's clear their dynamic has been tense for years. The accusations have always circled back to the same issues. You were harsh to my kids, you set strict rules, you didn't want them around, you were cold, and I hated it. These are real, valid grievances. But listening to Meri now, something deeper comes into focus. Many think she constantly criticizes Christine for speaking out. But Meri's words reveal a perspective that might completely change how you see this feud. And just when you think she might bury the hatchet, Meri drops a shocking truth that leaves no room for reconciliation. Could Meri and Christine ever truly be friends again? Meri made it clear in the interview that there's simply too much water under the bridge. She admitted that she and Christine will never be close. And Christine feels the same. According to Meri, what she seeks in a friendship is something Christine simply can't provide. And at the same time, what Christine wants in a relationship is something Meri doesn't have to give. So where does that leave them? Meri explained it bluntly. She doesn't hate Christine, but she doesn't want her in her life. It's not healthy, and more than that, it's not safe for her emotionally. That word unsafe isn't thrown around lightly. It suggests deep mistrust, unresolved pain, and wounds that can't be covered up just to look good for the cameras. Still, Meri was careful. She didn't take the easy route of trashing Christine, even though she had every chance to do so. Instead, she quietly stated that they simply don't align in values, and that makes it impossible to move forward. But if Christine has such a huge fan base, why would Meri call her unsafe? The answer reveals an uncomfortable side of Christine that most viewers never see. Christine may seem bubbly and beloved, but is there another side fans don't see? Meri's words hit hard when she explained why Christine feels unsafe. Christine has a long history of criticizing Meri, in her book, on the show, and in countless interviews. Yet, she's never once stopped to consider whether she made things harder too. Remember, when Christine joined the marriage, Meri was the first wife. She had already built the home, carried the emotional weight, and then suddenly had to share everything. That's a massive adjustment, and Christine never acknowledged the pain it caused Meri. In fact, Christine often mocked Meri, even taunting her for only having one child. She admitted in Becoming Sister Wives and in an old tell-all that she once told Meri she hoped she wouldn't get pregnant. That kind of comment isn't just unkind. At times, it felt downright cruel. And here's the contradiction. Christine presents herself as bubbly and kind, but even she has admitted she can smile to your face while gossiping behind your back. That's the type of behavior that destroys trust and leaves people feeling deeply unsafe around her. But if Christine could be cruel, where does that leave Meri? The wife often painted as the villain. The truth about Meri's role may surprise you. Meri may not be warm and fuzzy, but is she actually the most honest wife of them all? Unlike Christine, Meri doesn't hide behind smiles. She can be blunt, harsh, and direct, but she also owns her flaws. She reflects on her role in conflicts, admits where she's wrong, and doesn't pretend to be perfect. That raw honesty has always set her apart. Over the years, Meri has been dumped on by nearly every member of the family, yet she stayed. She faced harsh truths, carried the emotional weight of being the first wife, and absorbed the shock of every new wife entering the marriage. It wasn't easy, but it showed her commitment to the family, even when it came at her expense. This is where Christine's blind spot becomes clear. While Christine openly talks about her own pain, struggles, and victories, she rarely acknowledges the hurt she caused others. Her lighthearted jokes often masked mean-spirited digs, leaving Meri painted as the villain, while Christine wore the crown of positivity. But what if Christine's positivity is actually toxic, and Meri is the one facing reality head-on? The next part of their story flips everything you thought you knew about these two women. Is Christine's positivity genuine, or just a mask hiding deeper issues? Christine is often praised for being bubbly, funny, and lighthearted, But Meri's perspective reveals something else. To her, Christine's constant smiling feels superficial. It's surface-level joy that never goes deeper. Meri wants real conversations, honesty, and emotional depth. Christine, on the other hand, avoids confrontation and prefers to keep things light. That mismatch makes it nearly impossible to build real trust. If Meri can admit where she failed, then Christine would also need to own her mistakes. But Christine doesn't go there. And maybe she never will. For Meri, relationships must be authentic. She wants people who will face the hard truths alongside her. But with Christine, it feels like she's dealing with toxic positivity, a smile that covers up gossip, dismisses pain, and refuses to engage in anything real. But if Christine refuses to go deep, how does Meri cope with constantly being cast as the outcast and the villain? The answer reveals why she may actually be the strongest of them all. Meri has often been painted as the outcast. But is she really the most resilient sister wife? For years, Meri has been labeled the villain. She's been criticized, gossiped about, and even shunned by her own family. Yet, unlike Christine, Meri doesn't hide behind a mask. She admits when she's wrong, she owns her shortcomings, and she refuses to sugarcoat the truth. She's been piled on by almost everyone at some point, but she stayed and kept showing up, even when it hurt. That kind of resilience takes strength. Meri understands her role in conflicts, but she also knows her worth. And while Christine tells her story as if she was always the victim, Meri reveals a different truth. She has carried more of the emotional weight than anyone realizes. Instead of forcing a fake friendship for the cameras, Meri now chooses peace. She's protecting her space, her heart, and her healing. And after everything she's endured, she's earned the right to do so. But there's another layer to this feud: religion. And once you understand how faith and being unsafe played into Meri's alienation, the feud between her and Christine looks completely different. What if the real reason Meri was pushed out had nothing to do with Christine, but everything to do with religion? Meri explained that much of her alienation came when she began stepping away from the faith. Behind the scenes, Cody painted her as unsafe and worldly, warning the family that her outside influences couldn't be trusted. While Christine and Cody promoted polygamy, Meri quietly pulled back, and that made her a target. She still tried to hold the family together. She loved her child, she wanted to keep the siblings connected, and she honored her commitment even when she no longer believed in the church's teachings. But instead of being appreciated, she was shunned. Ironically, Christine later began losing her faith too. Yet, instead of joining forces and supporting each other, distrust kept them apart. They both struggled, both felt punished, and both were branded as unsafe once they no longer fit the mold. But if faith divided them, why didn't Meri finally use Christine's book to fire back and defend herself? Her surprising decision may be her most powerful move yet. When Christine's book dropped, many expected Meri to clap back. But her response shocked everyone. Meri admitted she hasn't read Christine's book, and doesn't plan to. Why? Because she doesn't want to get angry or dragged into defending herself. She said Christine is entitled to her own feelings and her own perspective, even if Meri doesn't see it the same way. Meri explained it like this: two people can be in the exact same room, live through the exact same event, and walk away with completely different versions of the truth. Rather than invalidate Christine's experience, Meri chose to step back. That kind of restraint shows real growth. Instead of calling Christine a liar, Meri respects her right to share her side of the story. It's a level of maturity that most people didn't expect from her. And it proves she's more focused on protecting her peace than winning arguments. But Meri didn't stop there. She opened up about her marriage to Cody, revealing shocking details that prove their relationship may never have stood a chance. Was Meri and Cody's marriage doomed from the very start? In the interview, Meri admitted something stunning. She and Cody married after only 6 months of knowing each other. Looking back, she believes if they had spent more time together, they might never have tied the knot at all. Their personalities were polar opposites, and once polygamy was added into the mix, everything got even harder. In that world, Meri was expected to keep sweet, suppress her emotions, and even help keep the other wives in line. Meanwhile, she was told not to feel jealous, an impossible expectation when living in a system built on sharing a husband. No wonder she lashed out at times. Christine even wrote in her book that even if you feel jealousy, you should still be kind. And while that sounds good on paper, Meri reminded us that sometimes kindness just isn't possible in polygamy. When your needs are ignored, your feelings dismissed, and your role constantly challenged, being kind isn't always an option. But Meri's way of coping didn't always sit well with the other wives, and her strict rules inside the family home became another major source of conflict. Were Meri's rules controlling or just survival? Meri revealed that she thrives on structure, routine, and boundaries. For her, those rules weren't about control. They were about survival, but not everyone in the family liked that. When Christine and others wanted to freely move through her space, Meri saw it as an invasion of privacy. She pointed out that their house wasn't one big open family home. It was designed as 3 separate apartments. The idea that they all lived in one big blended space was simply false. So when Christine complained about rules, Meri saw it as creating drama where none needed to exist. Boundaries, for Meri, were about peace of mind. But for Christine, they became fuel for resentment. And that clash only deepened their divide. But even after years of tension, Meri still refuses to fully attack Christine. Instead, she takes an unexpected stance that flips the script on their feud. Meri had every chance to tear Christine down. But instead, she chose grace. Meri admitted she doesn't want to pick apart Christine's book or call her out for exaggerating. She said Christine is entitled to her feelings, even if Meri experienced the same moments differently. 2 people can live the same event and walk away with totally opposite perspectives. And that's okay. Rather than discredit Christine, Meri simply refuses to engage in a public back and forth. She doesn't want to rain on Christine's parade or fuel more bitterness. That decision shows just how much Meri has grown. She's learning to walk away from fights that don't serve her peace. And that's why so many fans are noticing a change in her. Over the last year, Meri has found her voice. Not through gossip or revenge, but through restraint and maturity. She's proving she doesn't need to scream to be heard. But when you peel back the layers, what was the real reason Meri was shunned for so long? The truth takes us back to her struggles with faith, and how that clash set her apart from the family forever. What if Meri's feud with Christine was never just about family drama, but about being shunned for her beliefs? Meri explained that when she began stepping away from the faith, the family turned against her. She was labeled unsafe and worldly, simply because she no longer followed the same religious rules. Cody amplified that image, making it seem like she couldn't be trusted, while Christine stayed loyal to the system. But here's the irony. Christine eventually started questioning the faith too. Both women were wrestling with doubts, both were punished, and both felt the sting of being branded unsafe. Yet instead of leaning on each other, distrust kept them apart. For Meri, the pain ran even deeper. She loved her child and wanted to keep the siblings united, so she stayed. She honored her commitment to the family even when she no longer believed in the church's teachings. But instead of respect, she got isolation. And yet, despite years of betrayal, Meri has transformed. Her final reflections prove she's no longer the same woman fans once saw breaking down on screen. After years of heartbreak, has Meri finally found peace? Looking back, Meri admitted she didn't always handle her emotions well. She's screamed, she's lashed out, and she's struggled. But now, she's learned healthier ways to cope. Instead of yelling at others, she lets her emotions out privately. Instead of forcing fake friendships, she chooses peace. She's grown into someone who knows her boundaries and protects them fiercely. While Christine still has a massive fan base, Meri no longer feels the need to compete or defend herself. She's focused on her own healing, her independence, and her truth. And that's why she refuses to reconcile with Christine. They are simply not safe for each other. Their values don't align, their communication styles clash, and their history is too heavy to ignore. Meri accepts that, and instead of faking it for the cameras, she's walking away. So in the end, maybe the real story isn't about feuds or books at all, but about one woman finally protecting her peace, no matter what it costs. Don't miss the next headline. Like, subscribe and turn on that notification bell.